I started talking like everyone was here, but not everybody was here, and now more people are here. So good morning. It is FriYAY. I was a little bit late to launch on that. Sorry. It's FriYAY. It is, well, let's see here. As of right now, it's the 16th, 9:32. We are live on the internet, here to answer your traffic and police questions. The show is called Ask a Traffic Cop. My name is Sean Shapiro. I am a traffic cop, and I happen to be on TikTok and Instagram. Currently also broadcasting on YouTube, LinkedIn, that Twitchy thing, Facebook, and we're even on Twitter, even though Twitter has been broken since the beginning of time. Well, actually, no, it's been broken since it got rid of Periscope, which used to work perfectly with Restream, and then it didn't when they went to Twitter Live. Why? Why'd they break it? Please tell me. Their API doesn't cooperate anymore, and as a result, we can't see your comments and questions because this is an interactive show. If you ask us questions, we give you answers. I say we. On the two small screens here, I'm seeing, you're just going to see me. But on the big screen, possibly maybe, Sergeant Murray Campbell may join me on camera because he did it yesterday. He seemed to like it, so he might do it again. I want to zoom that. Yeah, I'm fine with it. Yeah, there's a box on the floor. It's bothering me. Anyway, let's start off with getting our Vision Zero enforcement team spiel out of the way. Being the 16th of December, Vision Zero enforcement team, which is a dedicated group of officers who are out there to change the world. Well, they're actually there to make the roads safer in Toronto. One ticket at a time, no hugs are given. They are today in 23 Division and 41 Division. That is the divisional label for it, but many people don't know what that means or where that is. So those are made up of the communities of Rexdale, Jamestown, Martin Grove, Dorset Park, Kennedy Park, Birch Cliff, and Cliffside. And those are neighborhoods with real people who deserve to be safe and enjoy their communities without concern. But unfortunately, they do have concerns. They have people who drive aggressively, they speed, they drive while distracted, and they drive while impaired. And that's unacceptable. We get that minor collisions are going to happen. We get that, things are sometimes beyond our control, weather and whatnot. But the way we approach them, the way we drive within those conditions, that is within our control. So we want drivers to be safe. We want drivers to be looking out for one another. It's a community out there. The road is a shared resource. What you do matters. The choices you make matter. All right. Jace says, Sergeant wasn't here yesterday. He was here Wednesday. Brian, oh, you're very right. Thank you for keeping me accurate. Jace, it was Brian Max who was here yesterday, and that was fun. It was the sergeant the day before. And on camera, no less. And now, if you were watching on TikTok, does it bother you not to be able to see the people that we're talking to? Because you just see me. And when my lips aren't moving and the voice is coming out of the earpiece, the speakers, it's because somebody off camera is speaking. One day we're going to be able to do this. We've actually had the technology or the authorization from TikTok to go and use the IP or computer serving broadcasting live from RTMP. We've had it for 2 years. We've not been able to use it because of our really strict security measures. As a police agency, we care about security. So we can't actually use RTMP because they block the port. Otherwise, I'd be doing all sorts of wild and crazy stuff every day because we have that. We've been welcomed, honored. I don't know. I'm making stuff up. Okay. Howdy Doodle from Big Jeff Fresh coming in by YouTube, along with Akela Draconis, who says, seasons, greetings, and salutations. Reading is a problem today. Someone says, you're the police? I am the police, or at least I'm a police. We are police, or at least the people here at Traffic Services. So I'm a police officer. I work for Traffic Services, which is the citywide unit that handles traffic enforcement and investigation for the city of Toronto, for the Toronto Police Service. It says police behind me. I'm not in uniform today because it's FriYAY, and we're doing a motor squad jacket FriYAY. And actually, I'm doing multiple layers. I'm also wearing a Traffic Services shirt. So not the full uniform, a little more comfortable on the FriYAY. And this is the last day, the last live until the 28th, because I'm going on vacation. And then it's a short week next week for the holidays. So I won't be here until Wednesday, which means I won't be here until Wednesday. If you want to ask us questions, because that's what this is all about, a show for you, about you, led by you and your questions. Use the Q&A functionality. If you put a comment or question in the Q&A, we will be able to see it quickly. And then if you are on Instagram and TikTok Live, you use Q&A. That's the best way to go. I don't see the chat. Chat moves too quickly. Too many people in the room for me to keep up, so you got to put it in the Q&A. If you're on the other platforms, a little slower there, bigger screen, and you can just add comments and we see them, except for Twitter. If you're on Twitter and you're watching, we love you, but we can't hear you, so move on to one of the other platforms and join the conversation. Alternatively, you can also jump into something called Volley, and you can use trafficcop.ca to get to my link tree to get to the Volley and then join the conversation there. We have about 120 people-ish in there. So not only will people there who are regulars be able to help answer questions, but I'm there. And it's asynchronous, so it's not a live response, but we do get to you. What is this? Oh. Here's a good question from Radix. The question is, speaking of bad weather, is it illegal to drive without running headlights during the day in bad weather? So the deal is that it says here, like we're having right now in the GTA. So the deal is that daytime running lights are required from a manufacturer perspective. They have to be put on to a vehicle for the vehicle to be sold. They're not required. You can't get a ticket for not having daytime running lights on just driving around. Not all vehicles, if you have an older vehicle, doesn't come with one. So is it a good idea to have your full headlight system on when you're in inclement weather? Absolutely. You should. It's safer. It's better. Everyone's happier. What I really have a problem with are the people who don't put their full headlight system on at night. No excuse for that. Okay. Plates pulled. If I fix and safety, will it get drop? Plates pulled. If I fix and safety, will it get drop? Your plates were pulled because you have to get a safety. If you get a safety, are you going on camera or are you hanging out on that side? Oh, okay. Sergeant Campbell is joining us. Once he picks a microphone, we'll plug it in and we'll add some audio to the game. Here, we'll get some music for you to intro. Is this your microphone?
Nope.
Is this your microphone?
How about that one?
Which one do you want? I got both of them live right now.
All
You
right,
have two
there we go.
microphones. Wait, which one do you have now?
We're good. This one.
Give it a tap. No. There we go. Now we know. There's too many. We have 4 microphones set up now, so we don't know which one. I need to color code them or something. All right, we can turn that off because you're here. It's official. So plates pulled, and if I fix safety, will it get dropped? So it's pulled. The plates were removed because it was unsafe. You were charged with driving an unsafe vehicle. So there's a case before the courts for that, for what you did. Now, in terms of getting your vehicle permitted to be back on the road, you have to get it safetied and certified, and then take it to the ministry, get a reinstatement plate, and you're back on the road at that point, but you still have a case before the court. It doesn't just disappear because you fixed it. It's not a fix-it ticket. It's a ticket.
Right. And you know what? The police don't drop charges. It's up to the court. And you would have to satisfy the court either way. But the allegation is you committed the offense when you committed the offense, and if you fix it later, that's great. Doesn't mean
Doesn't
you
change
didn't do it.
Well, it's like people who say, well, I don't have my license with me, but I can bring it to the station later. Well, not surrendering it at the time you're pulled over is what the offense is. What you do after the fact is irrelevant. However, I do see very often that the courts will do different things. I've seen tickets dropped when they show up with, here's my driver's license. See, I remembered it. But that's ridiculous because it
Right. Doesn't change the offense, but you know what? It's up to the courts to
They do things.
to decide.
Can women use anything for self-defense in Ontario? How about we change that to can people? Because at least then it's an inclusive question because there's no difference when it comes to who you are when it comes to self-defense. Can you use anything? What does that mean?
Should the need arise, you can use anything. But you are held responsible for the use of that anything, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
And if you use too much force, you can be held responsible for it. Anything is a weapon of opportunity.
Pencil.
Can you carry a weapon with you for self-defense? No.
And so we'll use a pencil as an example. You could use a pencil as a weapon. And at the time that you use it as a weapon, it becomes a weapon. But it wasn't a weapon. It wasn't designed as a weapon.
Right.
A sword designed as a weapon. Different situation.
It's like the people that carry a baseball bat. around in their car. You know what? If it's for playing baseball and you have the rest of your equipment in the car, it's obviously for playing baseball. But a lot of people keep it in their car because, to protect themselves. No, not allowed.
There's rules about that. And it gets more complicated and nuanced, but there's so many other offenses that you run into if you are carrying weapons and for different purposes. Like, you're looking for trouble, unfortunately, from many perspectives.
No, that's not to say to be aware of your surroundings, look after yourself. Your safety is paramount. So, yes, I understand the thought behind it, but can you carry a weapon? No.
You can carry a pencil.
You can carry a pencil.
Hi, can I drive from Ottawa to Toronto with a G2? And the answer is quite simply yes. You can drive you can drive to a different province, to the United States. G2 is a probationary license. It has all the privileges of being a licensed driver, but you have conditions. And as long as you follow those conditions, you can drive on any road.
I don't know. With the price of gas right now, driving from Ottawa to Toronto,
Is there a bus that's cheaper? Is it illegal if I drive in the opposite lane, so into oncoming traffic? Depends if there's traffic in that lane.
It depends.
It depends. We're back on the depends track. But it does depend because technically speaking, if you cross the line into oncoming traffic, it's not specifically an offense, but if you're driving into traffic and interfering and causing a collision, there's many offenses.
Right. So the roadways are divided into lanes, and it's there for the safety. Anything that you do that diminishes that safety, maybe by going into the opposite lane, you're held responsible for. There are certain times where you cannot go out into the opposite lane, say for passing, things like that. Crest of grade, a corner of a road, where visibility is not adequate, bridge, viaduct, railway crossing.
There's so many, and that's for U-turns and a number of things, but if you drive into oncoming traffic, we're talking careless, possibly dangerous, like there's so many other charges. It's a complicated, there's no simple answer for that question.
Right.
Except, like, by letter of law, crossing a line isn't against the law. By letter of law, being in the lane may not constitute an offense. But everything that happens as a result of you being there could result in charges.
Absolutely.
What is Vision Zero program? Well, we talked earlier about the Vision Zero team, enforcement team. Vision Zero is a concept, and it talks about both education, enforcement, both. There's more than both because it is more than two. So education, enforcement, and design, engineering, city planning, to make roads safer for everybody, but very much focusing on vulnerable road users. Where Vision Zero wants to protect pedestrians and cyclists and everyone out there who's utilizing the road. And the road is not just the roadway driven by vehicles; it is the sidewalks as well. It includes a larger area and encompasses the safety of all. So when we talk about Vision Zero enforcement or Vision Zero in general, it's to suggest that zero is the only acceptable number for deaths on our roadways. Now, this year, I had stats somewhere.
50.
50, we're at 50. We have not exceeded 50.
We're still at 50.
So 50 people have died as a result of a motor vehicle related, or it may also include other deaths.
Nope.
Just motor vehicle?
Yep.
Okay. Because we have some boating, some, I don't know if that was included or if that was even this year.
No, they wouldn't be included anyways. No, this is deaths that involved motor vehicles and roadways, on a roadway.
Okay.
We have had deaths on private property. They're not counted into the 50. We have deaths, non-motorized vehicles, bicycles, things like that. They're also not included.
So there may be a higher number of people who are involved with a vehicle, not necessarily a motor vehicle, so these are motor vehicles specifically related to this. 50, how many of your friends and family would you say is acceptable to lose as a result of a collision in a given year? Because when we say city, people say, oh, it's other people. But if I ask you how many people that you know are you willing to lose every year to unsafe and behavior on the roads? Well, I think you'd say 0 too. I hope you would. And
yeah, and you know what? Vision Zero is a fantastic idea. It's a holistic idea that we're going to target the drivers that are putting people at risk. We're going to target the areas of the roadway that seem to be more dangerous. And we're going to target the areas where these collisions occur for changes and enforcement, slower speeds, different road design.
It's not just one thing, because we
everything together.
Traffic safety is a complicated issue. You can't ticket your way out of it solely. You can't simply educate your way out of it, and you can't design roads differently. Not any one of those things unto itself will fix it. It's an everything approach. And why do we change design? To make people look differently and manage curves differently and reduce speed when doing certain things. And that works. Bike lanes and things of that nature, they work. But you still need to get people to join in and do what they're supposed to do. So everything we're doing right now on TikTok and social media is part of our desire to make roads safer. And it falls under the Vision Zero because we're trying to do the education component right here.
Absolutely.
Fancy schmancy. Which police agencies can pull me over in the city? Any police agency. That's a police agency active in the province because they have police authority in the province.
Yep, absolutely.
There was something about the RCMP needing special authorization to do Traffic Act enforcement, but that doesn't change the fact that they're police officers, and if lights and sirens are behind you, pull over.
They can pull you over too. Special constables can pull you over.
Can they?
They can.
I didn't know they could do that.
They can stop you. The enforcement action has to be taken by a police officer.
But they can stop you. See, I did not know that. I have learned something.
You have to stop any emergency vehicle that has lights and siren activated.
Good to know. Do OPP have jurisdictions off the highway? Well, that's the same but different. Was it the same person? No, it's a different person who asked that. The answer is yeah. They're police officers sworn in the province of Ontario, just as we are. They handle not only highway patrol in the GTA, but they handle municipal policing outside of the GTA.
And you know what? We are all police officers in the province of Ontario, working or not, so on duty or off duty, 24/7. If I am off duty and run into a situation way outside of the city, can I act on it as a police officer? Absolutely.
Are you obligated to act on it?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Depends on the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And usually when that happens, we can act upon it, but we will call a friend, somebody who's working in that area, who's responsible for that area at the time, to come continue the arrest, lay the charges. Mm-hmm. And that just makes us fantastic witnesses.
It's teamwork. It's a teamwork thing. Can I drive a truck without a transponder on the 407 toll road? So this is something that I recently had to update my knowledge base on because I looked it up on their website and it says if you don't have a transponder with a car, it's like $4.50 per trip. If you don't have a transponder with a truck, it's $50 or thereabouts. But I didn't realize that commercial motor vehicles required, like a certain size vehicle required one.
I believe it's 5 metric tons. You have to have a transponder. You're not allowed on there without one.
So you get a ticket just for being there in addition to all the other charges that you'd incur.
Yeah.
So that was new to me. I must admit that is an OPP area, and that is something I've never policed that road, never had call to. I didn't know. I do have a transponder in my car, though.
I don't.
You run risky, sir.
No,
You just don't use it.
I try not to use it, and when I do, then I pay the excess fees of the video charge and the toll charge and the account fee and everything else.
Are hood stacks legal?
No.
Is that because the exhaust has to be beyond the passenger compartment?
That is correct.
And
I got a feeling if it comes out of the hood, it's not going through any emission controls.
Yeah, that might be bypassing like everything.
Yeah. And your muffler? Where is that?
It's in the back of the vehicle.
Oh, imagine that.
Wow. Yeah, with all that environmental protection and noise reduction stuff in between.
Yeah, so that would be a hard no.
A hard no. What level of first aid training should a traffic services special constable have if assigned to point duty? Well, all of the special constables and members of the Toronto Police Service that wear a uniform have basic first aid.
Yeah.
Beyond that, advanced first aid, I don't think there's any requirement to have beyond basic first aid. Or first aid CPR.
I do believe we are...
Advanced?
I do believe we're one step above basic.
I don't remember. I just know we get certified. They teach us stuff. We do donuts, Band-Aid donuts, and then I'm all set up for the next year. Because we keep it current. And it's all the same. I don't recall it ever being different for civilian versus police. It's all the same. Can I cross the border many times as a Canadian? Borders is borders. That's not our area of specialty. Is there a restriction? I've never heard of one. I've traveled to the United States and all over the world many, many times. Mm-hmm. I think if you run back and forth repeatedly, they might have a problem with you, though.
Well, I don't know if they had a problem, but they may look into you and see why you're doing it.
Michael says, did someone say donuts? Donuts, yes. What was this question? Jace said something. We said, I compare.
Somebody's pushing me out of my way here, Sean.
We got violence.
Moving on in.
Moving on in. Okay, I'm turning on another microphone, and we're making some noise. Apologies to everyone's ears who just. So Jay said, I compare those tickets to people saying I may have been speeding when I got the ticket, but I'm not speeding now. I shouldn't have gotten the ticket. When we were talking about people who show up with their ID to say, here's my license. A lot of folks actually are a little upset because why should I have to carry a license if you as a police officer can just look it up in the system? Why is it my responsibility as a driver to provide that? Because it was really just an honest mistake and I left it at home.
Well, it's not our responsibility. It's a tool we use to confirm your identification. But no, it is the driver's responsibility.
Yeah, and here's the deal. If you are, and people will argue, oh, it's your job to investigate. Yes, but if we have to go and take time out of other things, which means not stopping the next vehicle or not enforcing another law, we're now spending more time investing into you because you broke the law, stands to reason that you get a ticket.
And
I think.
At the end of the day, driving's a privilege. It's not a right. You know when you take that course and sign up to be a driver, that part of that responsibility is carrying a driver's license.
I'm pretty sure they cover that
So
like on day one.
if you don't want to do that, then don't get your license. Take the bus.
I agree with that. Can CBSA pull over for traffic violations? They are not police officers. I do not believe they cover the HTA, but I do not know that for certain. Canada Border Services? I don't think they do traffic.
I don't know.
I don't know because I haven't seen it on TV, but I don't know if, where they go after a car that's gone through.
But that's
So-
stopping a car for a different thing, for different authority.
Right.
Yes, they can stop a car.
That's
Yes,
what I
they can
mean.
do it for a different purpose. So if you're fleeing from a border or you've, whatever reason, being investigated for that. But for the Highway Traffic Act stuff, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
I think we should phone a friend. Not today, not right now, but I think we should do it.
Yeah, put that on the list.
Yeah, on the list. Now, why do bikes get to be loud but cars can't? I think that's a fantastic question. We've talked about it in the past, and we'll talk about it again right now. They can't. Nothing can be loud. Some are louder just based on the design of the fact that a motorcycle is an engine sitting in the middle of every. But you can have quiet motorcycles.
Absolutely.
And certainly a vehicle that is deemed to be too loud is too loud regardless of how it's, how many wheels it's got.
And you know what? Loud doesn't make it better. Loud doesn't make it safer. Loud doesn't make it more efficient.
It makes it obnoxious.
Yep.
It disrupts communities. It upsets people. It wakes babies.
And the people that say loud pipes save lives,
Are not speaking from actual knowledge.
well, do tell, Sean.
Well, you see, there's a thing called the Doppler effect, which it deals with how sound and waves move. Not just sound waves, but radar waves. And all sorts of things. It applies in many other areas. But your exhaust pipe's in the back, not in the front. So you're not projecting where you're going. You're projecting to those that you've already passed. Additionally, even with a police siren, you have to be like behind another vehicle about one car length before that siren is actually getting into that vehicle and being heard. It's amazing.
And our sirens come out the front, and they're at a very high pitch.
Ridiculously loud, 100 watt plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't work. So why would it save you? Pointed the wrong way, yeah, it's baloney. We've disproven that many a time. But it's fun to talk about, and it upsets people to no end.
Yep.
Do you know what also upsets people? The video I put up last night. I put up a video specifically dealing with speed measurement. And basically, a gentleman said, I assume a gentleman, said that they got a ticket for 130 and a 100, and the officer said they wouldn't show them the laser or speed measurement device or whatever was being used. I assume a laser. And people were very upset to find out that we don't have to.
Right.
And they were even more upset when I said that when we testify in our statement is what's entered into evidence, our account of the events, and that there's no receipt or picture or nothing entered into evidence. Like the device that is used to measure the speed and confirm our estimate is just that. It's a visual for us, and that's it. Really bothered people.
That's a shame. You know what, though? I would never, ever ruin my reputation by getting up in court and swearing under oath for something that didn't actually happen. ever. I don't know of anybody that would.
Well, and oddly enough, I said something to that effect, and people are like, "Well, we all know police officers lie," and they would. And I'm like, "Would I lie to give you a $45 ticket? I would put my entire career on the line to give you a $45 ticket. No, not even for a $500 ticket."
You know what? If you perjure yourself, your career is done. No one will ever trust you again. So, no, don't do it.
I suggested your name is Mud afterward. I mean, how would you be able to get up and be taken seriously for anything? It doesn't make sense. When people lie, it's usually for some personal benefit, some reason that they get something out of it. And just to see you upset and about getting a ticket isn't one that works. Doesn't make sense.
No.
So
we're not out there to get you. But
well,
we are there to find you and hold you to account for what you're doing.
I'm out there to get the people who are breaking the law, not just to get them. And they give me plenty of evidence to go on without having to make anything up. So, yeah. I thought it was very interesting. 23.7 thousand views on that particular video. And oddly enough, almost 500 comments on the topic. So if you haven't watched it, please watch that. I'd love your opinion on what we just talked about. Crystal says, "Good morning, Sean." And I forget the other gentleman's name. And now I should actually introduce the whole team. So I am Sean Shapiro. I'm the police officer who's often on here. My handle is Voiceover Cop. This is Ask a Traffic Cop. Now, everyone on this channel, well, not most of the time, is a police officer. I can't say everyone because Erin is not a police officer. She's a parking enforcement officer. She's also not on here today. Now, the voice or the two voices you're hearing off camera happen to belong to Sergeant Marie Campbell and Sergeant Melissa Kulik.
Good morning.
You're kind of hiding.
No, I
behind
can't
the
see
screen.
either.
Yeah, I've got a lot of stuff going on, so I try and move things so I can actually see people, but it's not working. Let's see here. So that's who we are. That's what we do. What we do is actually answer your traffic and police questions Monday to Friday, most of the time.
And we're not always on. But you know what? I do my best to make time to be able to join you, Sean, because I think there's benefit to it.
Well, there is no question that we are changing people's minds about policing. We've done some recruiting on here. We answer questions about traffic and police to make the roads safer, to help people avoid getting tickets for things they weren't sure about. There's a lot of good that we're doing, and we've had a lot of positive feedback. So if you follow us, thank you very much. If you don't follow us, you should consider following us because we do this all the time, and we're available to answer your questions. Let's get to some more of your questions. I got a question here. It says, "How often do you slide over the hood of your car?" I can honestly say we've never been asked that question before.
That's awesome.
I can also say that never.
Dukes of Hazzard style?
Dukes of
Yes.
Hazzard. And I will say as a kid, I tried to get in and out of a car through an open window.
I was going to say maybe my younger years, but
Much younger.
slide, no. Roll?
Potion Sipper says, "Can you chase between regions?" Well, yeah, an active chase can take place and continue
Absolutely.
hot pursuit.
And we get our friends in that region involved in it as well.
It's like a
They
snowball.
come to help.
It's like a snowball. Every time we cross it, and more cops just join in. It's a bigger cop snowball.
We can enforce the laws anywhere in Ontario. We are police officers in our jurisdiction as well as out of our jurisdiction. So just because one opts to engage us and leaves where we work, we have the right to continue into the next area. And like my partner said, we will call more friends.
Yes. Quentin and Claudia say, "Thank you so much." I don't know what you're thanking us for, but I really appreciate the thank you. It's always nice to hear. Not that I'm asking for more, but I appreciate it. I appreciate the appreciation.
Thank you, Sean.
It's scary to even walk alone at night, says Quentin and Claudia. I'm sure this is like a 5-part question statement interaction, but I that's unfortunate that you find it scary to walk at night. This might be in relation to self-defense stuff we talked about earlier. Are electric dirt bikes the same as e-bikes? So electric dirt bikes that are high-powered and off-road are not the same because they likely have more power than 500 watts. They are likely capable of going more than 32 kilometers an hour. And at that point, they are not street legal. They are not e-bikes. They are actual motorcycles that happen to be electric.
And they probably don't have pedals.
Likely no.
So for an e-bike to be an actual e-bike, they have to have pedals. They have to be able to be functioned. So if you decide to unscrew your pedals and take them off because you don't like kicking your...
They don't look good. They don't look.
It
makes
becomes a motorcycle.
It makes it look less like a bicycle.
Yeah, then it becomes a motorcycle. Then you're eligible for an awful lot of enforcement action.
Let's count the ways. Not only would you require a license, but you would require a license plate. You would also require motor vehicle insurance, automobile insurance, well, motorcycle insurance. That one charge carries a minimum fine range of $5,000 to $25,000 and up to 6 months in jail, just for that one.
How about improper tires, no horn, no light, no taillight, no brake lights, no proper helmet, no safety compliance sticker,
There's a whole
unsafe motor vehicle?
The list
Improper
goes
brakes.
on and
Oh, my
on.
goodness.
So
and
things
on.
you don't want to do, because we have lots of paper and we're willing to write those tickets. Yes. Crystal says, good morning to all three and Merry Christmas and hope you have a great New Year. Thank you very much, Crystal.
Thanks, Crystal. Same to you.
We have, can Sarge get into general rules about winter off-road vehicles as we are in the season and it's more his speciality? It is, because I know very little to nothing other than what I've absorbed poorly.
We had snow temporarily for snowmobiles,
I still
and
have
it's
snow.
gone.
Yeah.
I got
It was a
buses.
tease.
I still have snow at my house, so...
I didn't think of taking a picture, but my wife did send me a picture earlier this morning of what the front of the house looks like, and that's a lot of snow.
That is a lot of snow.
I had a lot of snow in the front.
So off-road vehicles, are you meaning ATVs or snowmobiles? ATVs can be operated in the wintertime. They can even be operated down certain roads, but all the same summer rules apply to winter as well. Now, if you are off-road on an ATV sanctioned trail, part of a club, some clubs have winter trails open, and a lot of them don't. A lot of them close down on December 1st. Some of them even close down before hunting season on November 1st. Now, if we're talking snowmobiles, that's my passion. Snowmobiles can only be operated on OFSC trails or on private property where you have permission to go. You need a permit for it, and you need insurance. You cannot operate them on a roadway, but you can cross roadways at a 90-degree angle, only where the trail allows you to do it. Anything more? You know what? Send us a volley. Let me.
Send us. Let me check volley. Have there been any volleys since we spoke?
I don't know. I'll put something together and get back to you.
Can we get you on volley? There's been many people requesting that you join our volley group.
Sure.
We're gonna set the Sarge up for volley. Then you can harass him directly. Somebody asked if my boss is also a college professor. As a matter of fact, there is some colleging, some knowledge and education that happens from my boss. He might be involved with a particular college. In any case, moving on. Someone said, have a great vacation. Thank you very much. And holidays to everybody.
Thanks, everyone. I'm here next week, though.
Me
Yes.
too. Some of us have to work.
What's the best way to prepare for the OACP certificate to join the police service? Well, first of all, make sure you research the police service you're applying, regardless of the OACP. Go to their website, like our website, www.tps.ca/careers, because we are, of course, hiring, and police services across Ontario are hiring. If you want to be a police officer, now's a really good time to apply. But the OACP certificate is academic, physical, and what else? What other kind of testing is it? I haven't done it in a while.
No, I'm not sure if psychological is included in
No,
that or
that's
not.
after. Yeah.
Well, the deal is, be physically active. Be healthy in your eating and your activities. I should take my own advice because I am not as healthy in the eating and exercise right now. But I'm recovering from an injury, so I'm going to use that as my excuse. And that's why I just had Ferrero Rocher for breakfast. Then, in terms of exercise for the testing that you are required to complete. I did very specific exercising routines and running routines because it's not, if you can run a marathon, doesn't mean you can pass the test for policing, because it's a very different NO2 max test. So train for the specific testing you are required to complete.
That's both physical and mental as well. There are certain types of questions that they're going to ask you on the testing. Get some practice exams. There are books out there that'll let you get your brain thinking in a way that is more analytical, problem solving.
And it's not stuff that's university math. it's grade 6, 7, 8 math. It's simple stuff. Speed is what you want to work on because you have a limited amount of time and you have to be the most efficient you can be, spending as little time per question as possible when it comes to the written stuff. So doing drills and just practicing simple things until no thinking is required, really, really good way to go.
And if you sign up for one of the mentoring sessions or information sessions, they have all different types. That will help you as well. You can ask questions on that. The recruiters there will be able to give you more precise information,
Yes.
What you should be, working on and looking to achieve. So,
And you got to know that a recruiter wants to help you get hired. They are actively working to make you a better applicant, to give you the guidance you need to get to the next stage. No one's trying to get you out of the program. It's all about hiring good people. So contact them, work with them, take their advice, listen to what they have to say. They really know what they're talking about. Which laws do you hate enforcing the most?
Any of them.
You hate enforcing them? I like enforcing them.
I hate.
we want
having
everybody to
enforce.
abide
having
by
to.
the rules.
Yeah.
Yes, it would be much. I 100% agree with you in that I dislike the fact that people break the rules, and that's why I write the tickets. But if they didn't break the rules, I wouldn't have to. So I dislike the fact that people break them.
I think speeding for me, simply because that really is the big focus on Vision Zero, and it's all even before Vision Zero came into effect in Toronto, in I believe about 2016. It still was one of the leading causes of traffic collisions and injuries. So if we can slow people down, whether it's through education or handing out a ticket, that can be one of the best things we can do.
But is there anything you don't like enforcing? Like I don't like parking tickets. I have the authority to write a parking ticket, but I do it so infrequently that I'm just not good at it, and it's foreign to me. So I don't like doing it. I avoid it like the plague.
You know what, Sean? I think of every piece of legislation that's out there, and I think old, new, fresh, updated, there's a reason it's out there. Because somebody somewhere did something that put somebody at risk or harmed somebody. So I don't actually mind enforcing anything out there.
Well, you learn stuff, but I know that of all the stuff I've written, parking is my least favorite. Maybe the hate isn't the right word.
Yeah, I didn't hand out a whole lot of those either.
Oh, you know what? There's a benefit to keeping the traffic flowing and flowing safely. Ignorant people that park wherever they want,
There are
I
some.
have no problem.
There's no quite. I don't dislike. Let me rephrase. It's not that I don't like the law or I don't appreciate the benefit that it creates, because I do. I really appreciate parking enforcement. They are experts in what they do, and they're out there making the city move faster, better, safer. But I'm just not good at it because I'm out of practice. So I guess if I went out there and did an intensive training with parking enforcement officers and they can get me up to speed, then I wouldn't dislike it. But it's that not being proficient at it.
Maybe what I'll do is I'll talk to your supervisor
Hey,
and get you a special focus, some experience,
There you
some
go.
knowledge, and make you a better, more round police officer.
I think that could be good.
You know what I always find interesting when you look through the Highway Traffic Act is some of the weird charges that exist in there.
But because it's in there, it means that somebody
Somebody
somewhere
has
at
done
some
it.
point
Like sleigh
did it.
bells.
So I was just thinking of that one, not having sleigh bells on your sleigh. Like, when is
Yeah.
that? Why is that? Anyway, so many questions.
Do you know you cannot pass an open streetcar door on horseback?
Still
I
in
did.
the HTA.
Yeah.
Well, why wouldn't it be? We have horses that are on the road.
Well,
It's usually police officers on them, but still.
yeah,
If a cop pulls me over, do the passenger have to show ID?
depends.
Depends.
If they are being investigated or not.
Like if they're not wearing their seatbelt, they fall under the investigation side of things and are obligated under the HTA to identify. So yeah. Can the TPS arrest outside of Ontario? Depends.
It depends.
It does depend.
Yes. And in fact, I have been sworn in outside of Ontario to go to court as a police officer in another jurisdiction. Yes. Would we? Is it our job to?
No.
No. You know what? We catch criminals worldwide, and sometimes we have to arrest them.
Yes, and then there's also that concept of, although we're TPS, and if we were not sworn in elsewhere and we were traveling abroad and we saw something, could we arrest? Well, if it's within Canada, I say abroad, but I meant Canada, outside of the province, we still have authorities under the citizen's arrest.
Yeah.
So, and we have the training and know-how to make an arrest, and because we know the authorities, we can still make an arrest. But
You know what? we are police officers. We're police officers 24/7. We get paid to do the job in the jurisdiction that we're assigned to. That's why they're paying us the money to. Doesn't stop us from doing it elsewhere.
I have to announce something. Today is Richard's birthday.
Happy birthday, Richard.
Happy
birthday.
We don't do enough birthday stuff. You know, once in a while we get a message quietly, like my daughter's on the watching. But but Richard, you know, gave a shout out that it's his birthday. So happy birthday to you. That's great. I'm glad to share that with you. I feel better. I will have a nicer Ferrero Rocher for you in honor of your birthday. That'll be the third one I've had. Somebody gave me some Ferrero Rochers today because that happened.
You know what? Unfortunately, Richard has a birthday in and around the holiday season.
Is that a bad thing?
You know what? I think he kind of gets gypped.
So does my daughter.
So does my son.
And my daughter.
You know what? Yeah, it's nice when it's spread apart.
Well,
You can celebrate twice.
What I've done in my house is that this entire month is her birthday month, so it's just birthday every day.
Oh.
And
But then what about the other children?
Well, they have their birthday month too. We extend it beyond days. It's a birthday month. Everything's special for the whole month. I figured that's the way to do it.
You want to adopt me?
Well, I didn't say
I'll take a birthday for a whole month.
We just make it all about you.
That's cake every day.
I give ketchup, extra ketchup. If you want ketchup, we don't say no.
Oh, wow.
But only on the birthday month. Okay. Can I drive my friend's car in his supervision G2? Now, this does not give me enough information to give you a proper answer, because is it you who has a G2? Is it them who has a G2 and you have a G1? There's too many unknowns here, but I'll give you a quick thing. If you have a G2 and you do not live with your friend, are you a licensed driver? Yes. Are you allowed to occasionally borrow a vehicle with permission? As long as it's insured? Yes. If you live with them, most insurance companies want you to be listed on the policy, and they can deny a claim if they determine that you live together and you are not on the policy. That's not a legal thing from a police perspective. That's an insurance thing. That's playing with fire, because that's a private company that could do bad things like deny your claim.
Yeah. And you know what? Some insurance companies, they actually have stipulations to there. You shall not let somebody drive the vehicle under age 25 or whatever they said. It's their rules. It's their company. It's the agreement you have with your insurance company.
Now, the flip side is if you're saying that you are a G1 and you want them to supervise you as a G2, then no, they cannot. They do not qualify to be a supervising driver of a G1 until they have a full G license and 4 years experience. That experience starts when they get their G2, and it does not include any suspension time. If they spent 2 of their 4 years of experience under suspension, that's not experience, that's suspension.
And it's up to the ministry to decide when you are eligible to do it. You will get a new driver's license. Down on the right corner, you'll see 4 little dots that signifies 4 years of experience. If you don't have that, don't do it.
Here's a question I can't answer, but I'll address it anyway. At the age of 16, do you know how much is insurance?
It really depends, but lots. Yeah. I mean, when you first get your beginner license there, you're going to be falling under your parents' insurance. So, like your G1, it's not that great. However, when you get your G2 is when...
No, you can buy your own car.
More. You can.
And you can insure your own car at 16.
But
you can operate your own vehicle, a motorcycle at 16, and you have to have your own insurance.
Yeah.
It costs a lot because the risk is higher because you're not experienced.
Absolutely. And that's what you're paying for. You're basically, they're calculating what are the chances. They're gambling on you. What are the chances that you're going to cost them money? And if the chances are high, you pay more. Ricky Bobby wants to know, why are you wasting tax dollars on TikTok? Well, you spelled TikTok wrong. Additionally, we are here as educators about traffic safety, traffic law, and general police stuff. We are doing what we used to do in the public, and we do it more efficiently now. We speak to thousands of people in a sitting instead of hundreds or people over a weekend. So we're actually taking those tax dollars and making them last way, way longer. This office used to have 6 people, it now has 2 people. So we are the most efficient and best looking traffic educators there are.
You know what? Part of Vision Zero you talked about earlier is education. And how do you do it? How do you get the most amount of bang for your buck? By doing exactly this. And an awful lot of the people who need to have answers to these questions are of the demographic that they use social media for all of their information. So why not be there where they are?
Exactly. You're here, and that's why we're here, because we want to talk to you, want to hear from you, we want to help you. It is exactly what we're doing. And not only are we on social media, but we are also the media relations officers who speak to mainstream media, radio, television. We're out there on the news. We are sharing information, and this is just one of the outlets. It happens to be one that is seated or downloaded on a telephone or on a web camera, but the result is the same. It's getting you information you need to know in the fastest and best way possible. So I appreciate the question. Akela says, my son has a birthday on the 25th. Hard to get that free dinner on your birthday at restaurants. But he always has the day off. Nihao, who is a student at Humber College, says, is Vision Zero based on targeted enforcement? Well, Vision Zero team does focus their enforcement efforts based on analytical results. So we have analysts who go through and determine where enforcement needs to take place, and they focus their efforts there. But is it targeted enforcement? They focus on the big four, that's speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving. And they're just the team that goes and augments work or work being done in other areas. Because police officers throughout the city can issue tickets.
Yeah, police officers are working everywhere across the city in traffic enforcement. Vision Zero specific enforcement team takes high-risk intersections, looks at the data of where people are getting hurt, where people are getting killed, where collisions are occurring.
Serious injury data.
And stopping that from happening.
And Vision Zero is all-encompassing, right? It's not just the police that are a part of this. There's many stakeholders in this, including the city. I'd encourage you to actually look at the City of Toronto, Google City of Toronto Vision Zero. There's a great video, a lot of information about what's being undertaken to, ultimately the goal is to have zero fatalities on our roads.
Yeah.
But that's not just the enforcement piece. That is also changing roadscapes, adding bike lanes, it's lighting, it's speed cameras, enforcement cameras in general. It's a whole bunch of things that work together in order to ultimately get the goal of zero. So
Zero is my goal.
And I just learned a new word.
Which one's that?
Roadscapes.
Roadscapes.
Yeah.
It's like artistic.
Yeah.
I like it. Big Jeff Fresh wants to, additionally, he says it's his smart butt answer. He says it's not just TikTok. We're also on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch. So really, really wants to give
Even more bang for your buck.
We're banging. For the, okay. How many canines does CPS and who fosters them? I have no idea. What's more dangerous, domestic violence call or a traffic stop?
Both have different risks.
And both have the potential of going sideways.
Both very dangerous.
Yeah. What's the actual law about front window brows? So a brow, a sun strip, a tinted portion of a windshield. Basically, in order to get to pass an inspection, you cannot have anything on the windshield. However, you can have 3 inches or 75 millimeters from the top of the windshield down to the PS1 line or 3 inches, whichever happens first, if your vehicle was manufactured before 2017. That's it. That's all. Technically, if it's there, it wouldn't pass inspection, so it's unsafe.
Right. Anything that blocks your view anywhere of your windshield can be a ticket.
Is no good. Is off-roading just stunting?
Is off-roading just stunting?
Because of the potential of spinning your tires, I guess, or making hard corners or wheelies, or is off-roading by virtue of being off-road stunting?
No.
You don't have to take your wheel off the ground.
No.
You can drive safely off-road.
Absolutely.
And actually,
I do it all the time.
It's also safer to drive safely off-road. And we talked about that. We talked about this. Can you license electric dirt bikes for the road? I'm going to say no, unless they came from factory as a dual sport, licensed for the road, already licensed for the road. Like, you can't take something that's not meant for the road and put it on the road.
You can.
Can you?
Yes, you can.
How do you do that?
You have to modify it, though, and it has to be approved by Transport Canada.
So that's a lot of work.
So we currently have, just like we have electric cars, we currently have electric motorcycles that operate on the road all the time. Harley Davidson even has an electric motorcycle. Pretty fast one, too.
I saw a movie about it, or a series.
Yeah, but it is a motorcycle, and it meets other requirements of the road.
Can you talk more about truck safety? There's a lot to unpack with truck safety, and probably too much to just start talking about it now, as we have 8 minutes left in our live. But you have to give respect to trucks. They are big vehicles. They have different areas of view, so bigger areas where they don't have visibility. So if you're too close to the side of the vehicle, it doesn't know you're there. We last year, 2 years ago, someone driving a Mini cut off a dump truck and found itself attached to its front bumper, being pushed up the ramp to the deck. They could not have seen that vehicle because it came within 20 feet of the front of the vehicle, and that's a blind spot. So you have to know that they take longer to stop. They're heavier. And that's
They turn different, they handle different,
everything.
and the requirements are different for them as well. The drivers, properly licensed drivers on commercial motor vehicles, depending on the weight class, have to go extra and above what regular drivers do to be able to operate those vehicles. They are professionals most of the time.
And, we have a great podcast called TPS Traffic Jam. It's a great podcast. We make it, and we're biased, but that's why we're calling it a great podcast. Anyway, if you go check it out, we actually had an episode with Mike Millian from the Private Motor Truck Council of Canada talking about truck safety. So check out that episode. I think I talked about that mini truck collision thing there too. Okay. Someone here, someone there. Was it speed cameras are set up based on ticket IOC data? 1 second, let me take the microphones down for you. Yeah, there you go. Are speed cameras set up based on ticket location data? So, oddly enough, just had an interview with the folks who manage that program for the City of Toronto. And you want Mike's back on?
I'm good.
We do have our boss here.
The boss is here. They asked about your boss. Someone said, does your boss also a professor? Does your boss also a professor? Is your boss also a professor?
A professor. I teach at Humber.
That's what they wanted to know.
Oh.
We alluded to that, but we didn't. We didn't go so far as to tell them specifically your address and telephone number.
Oh yeah, no. I don't know if you guys can even hear me.
Well, we hear you.
Excuse me. Hang on, before I go live, I got to comb my hair. Okay, there, good. Because you never know who's going to see that on radio. Yes, I do teach. I've been teaching for a few years, so in the police foundations, and it's a great experience because this is where I learn more about people's expectations coming into the workforce, so which I think is really, really cool. So plus I get to put my own little spin on it, and I get to dance in front of the class. I occasionally break out into song, which I think is very, very important. Who doesn't love a good song? And when all is said and done, I try to get some public safety messaging out as well.
Is part of it. Yeah, that's good.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's why I'm up there. I have to teach.
Now, that wasn't the person who asked about you being a professor, but Neha, who was one of the students that I saw at Humber when I spoke there, says hello because she's here.
Ah, fantastic. Well, thank you. And Merry Christmas to for those that celebrate, but season's greetings to those that don't. And we extend our best to everybody, but thank you very much. And hopefully I'll see Neha and other members in the halls as I continue to teach on. I think they've got me teaching online. Why don't they want me in the college, Sean? What do you think?
It might be the dancing.
You think so?
Or the song.
I think I'm going to have to stop wearing clogs. That's just giving it away.
There's different types of dance.
Yes, there is.
Some are noisier than others.
And on that note, I think I'll dance my way back to my office. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for dropping by. Okay. That's the boss. Okay. Do I still have your mic on?
I'm still here.
You're still here. Okay. So we were talking about speed cameras set up based on ticket location data. So speed cameras go into the city of Toronto anyway, go into community safety zones, usually in relation to a school, but that's where they're limited to. So I don't know other criteria.
Across the province, they're all set up in community safety zones.
Oh, is that right?
So for it to be designated a community safety zone, there has to be a higher risk to people or other motorists or pedestrians within that area. And once the application's made for them to be a community safety zone, an awful lot of stuff happens there. Fines are higher because the risk is higher.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, that was something I learned yesterday talking to the guys from the enforcement, the automated enforcement team. I thought that the fines were just more expensive, but I didn't ever take into consideration that it was based on the same schedule, just community safety zone, which is double.
Yep.
So that's why they're more expensive. Because I've been scratching my head. I haven't received a ticket for a red light camera or a speed camera, but I've heard that they're more expensive. I didn't understand why, and now I do. So I thought they had a different schedule altogether.
You know what? An awful lot of moving violations have increased penalties within community safety zones.
It makes sense. Although I will say that Ontario has the cheapest, lowest cost fines across the country. We are the best deal. So I don't want to encourage people to break the law here. I prefer they don't break the law at all. But for the people who whine and complain that they're paying too much in tickets, just know it would be more expensive somewhere else. And if anyone who can change laws and prices is listening, please increase the fines. We need to make it more of a deterrent. Sorry, did I say that with my inside or outside voice? Okay. Mama Bear 92 says trucks slowing down in winter takes longer. Trucks slowing down in general takes longer than a motor vehicle. Weight has a lot to do with that. Fully loaded versus unloaded. There's so many different factors, but absolutely. And for people driving things other than trucks, just anything in the winter takes longer. Turning should be done slower. Reduce your speed even more.
Space. Give them space.
Yes. Can military police do traffic enforcement in the city? Well, they generally do enforcement on their bases, but they do have jurisdiction in relation to any member of the service, of the military service, even off the base. So it depends.
Yeah, they get their authority from a different piece of legislation. So they're limited to what they can do, or sometimes they even have more authority on what they can do than we have here.
Big Jeff Fresh says, if you can't see a truck's mirrors, they can't see you. Good point. And Naxer says, he mentioned that community safety zones have to be applied for. How is that decided? And I don't think we got into that, but other than the fact that there has to be an established risk explained, but it's city that would establish whether or not that's a zone of safety.
Yeah, and I think the application process is actually to the province to designate a certain area of, even though the road may be a provincial or a municipal jurisdiction road, it has to be designated as such. It has to be properly signed. So there's rules about how you create a community safety zone and how you share that information with the drivers out there, knowing that there's increased risk.
Music Spot came back today. They were here yesterday, or the day before, and they said, how long after entry is a U.S. driver's license valid? And it was the same question you asked last time, but maybe you left before you got the answer. The answer to your question is that you can drive as a visitor for up to 6 months on a driver's license from the United States. In fact, your vehicle has to leave the country within 6 months less a day. Otherwise, there's other implications of tax and things of that nature because you're importing it. But if you become a resident of Ontario, you have 60 days for your driver's license, and you have 30 days for your vehicle to register, which is weird that they don't just make it all in the same. But they don't.
Yeah, and you're talking about the tax implications of vehicles from outside. I've had several occasions, and it shocked me the first time, where I pulled somebody over, made some inquiries. The vehicle had been in the province for a period of time, and Canada Border Services, or the RCMP on behalf of the Canada Border Services, said, no, take their car.
Seize it. I did that.
And your car is gone. And your car's held until you pay the taxes to import the vehicle.
I was shocked as to how much money that was. So a gentleman was involved in a collision when I was working in 12th Division. He gave me a notarized letter from his daughter that said, I give my dad permission to drive this car in Ontario. She's from Florida. That vehicle was seized, and it was like a $25,000 fine, not to mention the taxes that were owed. So their option was pay the taxes, pay the fine, stay, or ship it, pay for it to be towed to the border, pay the fine, get out.
Yeah.
I was shocked. Any laws regarding roof ski racks?
Roof ski racks. Properly secured, and anything that's put on there has to be properly secured. Other than that, no part of it can obscure, block, or interfere with your vision out of there. But I think you're pretty good after that.
Yeah, properly secured. The big thing is if it comes off, you're in trouble. If it's not properly secured, you're in trouble. Somebody wants to know about fascist institutions and why should money go to police instead of housing. I don't know. Maybe the police provide some good services. They're kind of important to the community. But obviously they have some very specific political beliefs we're not going to dive into.
And you know what? We totally agree that money should be spent in housing as well.
Oh, it's not to suggest that that's not important, just that we're also important.
Yeah.
If you took away all the funding for police and only went to housing, that's a problem. That wouldn't solve all the problems. There's lots of problems. Okay, can I drive my girlfriend's car if I have my own insurance? In Ontario, vehicles, and maybe across Canada, I would assume it's the same thing. Vehicles are insured, not drivers. Drivers are listed on policies related to vehicles, and they factor into how much you pay in insurance, but it's the vehicle that is insured.
The vehicle covers the basic third-party liability. So if you got into a collision, hurt somebody, or damaged their car, the vehicle's insurance would cover it. Everything else is somebody named in the policy to be covered. And it's up to each individual insurance company to decide who, what, when, and how.
Now, if you had your own insurance policy on your car and were driving hers and your policy had better coverage, you might be able to go to your insurance provider for your coverage
and make a claim.
And make a claim. So it certainly wouldn't be a bad thing. But in terms of legal requirements to have your own insurance, that's the differentiation I was making.
You know what? My insurance policy currently covers me when I'm operating rental cars. But it doesn't cover the liability, the basic liability of this rental car.
Oh.
The vehicle needs its own insurance. And then anything extra over on top, my insurance would cover.
Corey wants to know how the roads are in Toronto. The roads were actually pretty good. It was slushy, but it was not a bad drive.
I left pretty early this morning expecting a terrible drive and was here in fantastic time.
Record time.
I did see, though, and I had to make a call to the city, coming southbound on the Don Valley Parkway, some crews had been out this morning taking the snow out of the bus lane, the high occupancy bus lane. But for some reason, they left a lot of it in lane number 1.
That's not good.
No, I saw the car in front of me going sideways and try to get out of that lane.
Oh, no.
And so I had to make a phone call because I don't think they did their job properly.
Well, you call them back to finish what they started.
Yeah.
Yeah. That bothers me. When people don't do things that they're supposed to do, it bothers me. How fast can you go on Ontario's highways? The posted limit. That's how fast you can go. Whatever that posted limit is the maximum you can go. So many people are confused by this. They think it's a percentage of the route in pi time. Like they have a cat. No, it's the posted limit. Maximum. It says maximum. That's the maximum. It's so simple. When you drive somewhere, look for signs, read the signs, do what the signs say. We have a very, very low complication level. It's simple stuff. And I'm being facetious, but it's because it's my last day before one of the holidays.
And quite honestly, it's true.
Let's see here. We talked about this earlier. We're going to be wrapping up soon, so if you got questions, you're probably not going to get them because now we're getting into this thing. So we're off, or at least I'm off until the 28th. I come back on Wednesday the 28th. So I'm already looking forward to the next live, but I got a break. I might go live. I might mess around on VoiceOver Cop and stuff while I'm not being here. And who knows? I've been known to jump on a live stream spontaneously from home or somewhere.
Well, I will be here and I will be working. Let me know.
Yes, yeah, maybe yeah, we can figure something out. I could bring you on there and we can make things happen. Okay, what is this? We got how far long can police follow you while driving? That's a very interesting question. How long can a police officer follow you?
As long as they want to.
That's a pretty good answer. I like that.
Yeah.
There's no. I can. Yeah. Why are you being followed? Right now? Why? Yeah. If you're not breaking any laws, probably not concerned. If you're paying attention to why a car is behind you, that's a police car. Maybe it's a guilty conscience, or maybe it's just because you're very attentive. I don't know. I'm trying to make it funny. All major intersections need cameras. Amit is making that statement. I don't disagree. I think that cameras are a good thing. I think automated speed enforcement and red light enforcement is good. I spoke to the chaps yesterday about people who turn right on reds. And I was shocked. It's a major problem. A lot of people getting those tickets. Some people are getting them repeatedly. They were talking about a story where one car received multiple tickets for that offense as they drove around the block waiting for somebody. So they just kept on racking up those charges because they just continuously failed to stop for a red light.
So let's go down to the basics here. Red light. Come to complete stop.
Stop.
Look. Make sure it's safe. Proceed on your right turn into the proper lane when it's safe to do so. If you do that, no red light ticket.
Stop, ensure it's safe, proceed only when safe, and do so safely.
Sounds like a good idea. Sounds like emergency vehicles should do the same.
They do.
Yes, they do.
They do. We, even if we're approaching with our full lights and sirens on, it's a stop sign, we still have to stop. If it's a red light at an intersection, we have to stop and proceed only when safe to do so. It doesn't matter that we have lights and sirens on. That just lets us bump the line, essentially. That's all. But I mean, it's an epidemic. It started with people asking why they're getting tickets for right turns on with red light cameras, which was shocking, because this is basic stuff for getting your license. How does someone get confused on that? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot of things I don't get. George says, have a great vacation. Thank you very much. Mac Montgomery says, can you record a stop and do you need to notify the officer? So as the person being stopped, can you record a stop? There's no law preventing it. You can't be driving with your phone in your hand because that's a ticket. So don't do that. But if your phone was mounted and recording while we were conducting a stop, it's just one more recording device because we're recording. We have body cameras. There's dash cams in the cars. If you record, you just have your own copy of what happened.
Do you have an obligation to tell the police officer? No, not at all.
No. Now we do tell people when we're recording. That's something that we do. But you don't
That's
have
out of courtesy and that's out of respect.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes when they know they're being recorded or reminded that they're being recorded, they tend to calm down a little bit. Now, if you are just intent on recording and are not following direction, not providing your information, not providing documents, if that's interfering with this traffic stop, this investigation, that could be a problem.
Yes. And I've seen some very interesting videos where people are being given directions like get on the ground. And they're not because they have their phone in their hand and they're saying, I can't, I'm recording. I can't do what you're telling me to do. That's not acceptable. You still have to take direction. So if your phone's in a mount in the car and you're still complying with everything that you need to comply to, great. If you're being arrested and you're saying, well, I can't put my phone down because I need to record this, well, you're getting arrested. Like there's no right to record that trumps everything else. So just be wary. And I say that for your safety because some people can become fairly belligerent and insistent on the fact that they have a right to do something when they may not have a right. So, yeah, my suggestion is if you don't agree with that arrest, if you don't agree with a ticket, if you don't agree with the officer, if you don't like the officer, whatever the case is, the side of the road is not the place to argue. This is something you can take up with your lawyer, with the courts. There are many different ways to respond after the fact. You don't like the way the officer spoke to you? No problem. Talk to a supervisor afterwards. You don't like the way that the fact that you were charged? Talk to a lawyer. But don't fight or argue or become rude at the side of the road. It just won't help you. So that's a free pass, not a free pass, but a free piece of advice. Actually, all of this is free advice. That's all we do here. We are saying goodbye. I will see you back on the 28th. I'm sure I'll be posting stuff for you to enjoy. My plan is to have podcasts rebroadcast on YouTube and streamed on all of our platforms every day for the next as many days as I can get it all lined up for. But we'll play some old stuff to keep you busy during the week. So Monday through Friday will be 5 episodes, and that's it. That's all. I'm going to play my favorite song as we say goodbye. But any words of
be safe, be happy, enjoy your family.
And actually, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that people are celebrating. It's that holiday time. We want you to have fun, but we want you to be safe. So if you're going to drive sober. No drugs, no alcohol. Please, please, please. We have so many people. Listen, it's an all-year thing. We never want you to drive under the influence of drugs or alcohol because we think lives are important. But this is that time when people die. It seems to be more tragic. It's just more heartbreaking. It's always heartbreaking, but a holiday is special. And we want everyone to get to their family and have a good one. So try not to kill anybody is what I'm trying to say.
Right on red, stop before.
Yeah, just follow the rules. All right. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Bye.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed, and watch your driving. Don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get freed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
All right, for real. Have a good one.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.